We are all blinded by our greatest flaws, as are the characters in The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Tom, Daisy's husband, is blinded by his greed, envy, and need for control. Daisy, Gatsby's obsession, by her misunderstanding of love and her craving for wealth. But most specifically, Gatsby, the tragic hero of the book, by his immature understanding of how the world works. Jay Gatsby, born as James Gatz, son of a poor farmer, becomes one of New York's wealthiest citizens through his own ambition and the mentorship of a rich man. Though his background and livelihood are questionable, Gatsby believes that he can make Daisy love him again. He believes in the American dream, that he can get it all: wealth, power, and a perfect family. But in reality, he has no idea what he is trying to reach. He stands on his dock, stretching for the green light, at the end of Daisy's dock. The narrator tells us Gatsby believed in the green light, the orgastic future that year by year recedes before us. Gatsby sees Daisy as the love of his life, not because he's fond of her as a person, but because of what she represents: acceptance into the moneyed upper class, the orgastic future mentioned above. This sole objective drives him to his death as he tries to save Daisy from ruin. Fitzgerald, drawing on his own personal experience, gives us a description of the flaws of the morals and ideals American society so heavily praises. He tells us that the American dream is nothing but a lie, ending the book with "So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past." Gatsby never truly gets what he wants. He has to commit crime to get his wealth, and he dies because of his decisions and faults. The lessons we learn from stories like The Great Gatsby, the weight of selfishness, the driving desire for power and wealth, the lack of responsibility for problematic behavior, and the consequences that follow, all play a part in our society. We are a species who don't know how to deal with these issues. We have been trying for millennia. We are still dealing with problems of class inequality between men and women, and prejudice against people of different colors and nationalities. These are the fundamental issues about what it means to be human, how we should interact with each other in society, and our moral purpose. Fitzgerald scrutinizes these issues in The Great Gatsby in order to rid Americans of its false ideals, in hopes that they will grow to change their mindset and not take such a disastrous road. His goal is commendable, but does that mean that The Great Gatsby is a classic, something considered of the highest quality, that teachers feel obliged to put in their syllabus year after year? I do not think Fitzgerald's novel is a classic, though others will disagree. It is praised for its analysis of the mentality of America and the underlying issues with the American dream. The book also accurately teaches us about the Roaring Twenties and the massive culture change after the First World War. Finally, Fitzgerald's writing is believable and realistic for the time period. But I did not enjoy it as a novel. Though I agree with the message, the style and setting were strange and foreign, and his description did not capture my attention. His characters were rigid and cemented in their ways, with little to no character development. The narration, too, was very old-fashioned, and the setting was not something with which I could identify. I struggled to understand the context of the time period. The fight scene between Tom and Gatsby, for example, shows that the men really care little about Daisy and her opinion on the matter. but more about how they want her in their lives. She is a toy that they, as children, are fighting over. The scene prompted many questions for me, questions that were never answered. Why did Tom allow Daisy to ride to New York with Gatsby if he suspected they were having an affair? Why was Daisy unable to express her own perspective? Why did Nick and Jordan just stand and watch the fight? Why did Daisy drive Gatsby back to Long Island if Gatsby knew she was in a bad frame of mind? Why do none of these characters have any backbone? Maybe Nick Carraway's comment explains Fitzgerald's characters. They were careless people, Tom and Daisy. They smashed up things and creatures and then retreated back into their money and their vast carelessness, or whatever it was that kept them together, and let other people clean up the mess they had made. Still, I wanted more from these people. The world is a dark, cruel place, filled with people blinded by their greed, envy, childishness, carelessness, and fear of losing power. It is compelling that men like Gatsby, who rise through the ranks and achieve the impossible, are doomed to fall. But Fitzgerald needed to go deeper into each person's motivation in order to connect his readers to his characters.